Hi everybody, Jane here, and today I'm going to talk to you about The Time Traveler's Guide to Modern Romance. So, this is a book about a boy named Elias who is living in the 1800s, and his life is kind of a mess. Among other things, he doesn't fit in well, he doesn't have a lot of friends, he's having some strain with his parents, and when we open up the story, he has just kind of had an incident with his best friend. So his best friend is a painter, and they are at his unveiling of this beautiful piece. And Elias accidentally spills wine on his friend's art. His friend has worked really hard on it, and his friend's parents are kind of upset. His parents are upset. He's a little drunk when it happened. So, just overall, he's in a rough situation. Also, he's gay, and he is living in a time when that's not acceptable. So he's just struggling so much. His grandfather has a magic, because I don't know how else to explain it, time travel watch. So you hold the watch, you think of a time and place, and poof, you're there. It's not quite as easy as that, but that's the basics of it. So Elias is like, see y'all, I'm out of here. So he goes, because he feels trapped, he's frustrated, all his relationships are strained, he's done. So he ends up in modern day. He poofs into a library where Tyler is filming. Tyler, and I believe the boys are 17 and in high school. Tyler is at a boarding school, maybe. And I say maybe because I was really confused. I felt through most of the book that he was in college, but then I'm pretty sure he's actually in high school and just at a boarding high school, but it felt like college. So I will say I didn't love that aspect of it. I was so confused. I'm like, you are acting college-y, but you're saying high school. Anyway, Tyler's father has died. I don't remember what happened to his mother, if anything, but his stepmom is keeping him at the boarding school. And he is currently applying to film schools because he wants to be a filmmaker. He kind of gave me Dawson from Dawson's Creek vibes. That, the filmmaker stuff, and he's really enthused about the filmmaking, and filmmaking is really important to him. So he catches Elias showing up on tape and kind of introduces himself. And initially he's like, oh my gosh, this is my breakout chance. I just met somebody from another world. I can interview them and, get some cool film clips. What is it like for him in the modern world? And Elias obviously has nowhere to go, so he's like, okay, Tyler, whatever. Now, Elias is gay and Tyler is bisexual, so ultimately their, slow friendship starts to become more. It's very sweet, very cute. And yeah, so I won't go into too much else yet until we get to the spoiler section. I gave this book a 4 out of 5. Now, I'm going to give you some caveats there. My enjoyment level was a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed the book. This is why it's getting a 4 out of 5. But there were some problems, plot-wise, that if I was not counting my enjoyment and just looking at, is this a good storytelling, a well-told story? Does the plot work? It's probably closer to a 3. But I'm giving it a 4 because I had a good time. I had a really good time with this book. So I love the dialogue, I loved the humor, I love the characters, the scenes. Basically, setting and characters I was all about. The plot I did not love because, and unfortunately in this case it was mostly the actual time travel complication. So when you have a time machine, basically, that you can jump around in time, it creates certain plot holes, plot bunnies, I don't know, things that just didn't work for me in the plot. So some of the time travel related stuff I didn't like. But the romance I was all about, the characters I was all about. They have some really cute scenes where Elias, who Tyler nicknames Eli, is like seeing our modern world and all excited by all of the things there is to do and to see. And Tyler takes him to meet his friends, and because Elias has like an English accent, everybody at school just loves him. They call him English, and they invite him to parties and stuff. And yeah, it's just a really funny, cute, adorable male romance. I did love too, and this is a personal preference thing because some of you, I'm sure, feel the exact opposite. It is not smexy. Like, there's some kissing, and that's it. And I prefer that. I prefer either sweet and clean, and this is all romances. I prefer either sweet and clean or like a couple of well done love scenes is fine. I can get behind that. I don't care for the real erotic, real detailed, real steamy, unless it's super, super emotionally charged, but I don't want descriptions of everybody's bodies. I don't need descriptions of things going where and touching and all that. Again, a little bit's fine, but so many of the romancy books I read have like this much smexy time, and I need like this much smexy time. Like, I can handle that much. Not so much this much. I have actually DNF'd books before that were just too steamy, and I was not feeling that. So I did want to say that this is I think there's kissing and nothing else. And I love that, and I appreciated that. But I know for some people, you're going to be like, why would you read romance if it doesn't have sexy time? So just be warned, there's no sexy time, which works great for me. I was fine with that. So besides the time travel element being kind of complicated, which I'm going to do a spoiler section to kind of explain why that didn't work well. The feel for the setting also kind of, like I said, frustrated me because I felt like Tyler and Eli were older, like they kind of acted older, and I felt like we were on a college campus much more than a high school campus. And there were just things like that in the book that just weren't quite congruous, maybe. They weren't huge things, but they just kind of didn't work so well for me. But, like I said, I just had such a good time, I couldn't rate it lower than that. So, anyway, I think that's all that I have to say that's non-spoilery. So I'm going to get into some spoilers. So, I loved so much about the things that they did in the city. One of the things they do is Tyler has these friends, and one of them is really big into like artsy historical stuff. So she convinces them to go to an art museum, art display, and the display has Elias's best friend's art, including a wine stain, which is pretty cool. And then we learn through this art thing that Elias leaving, using his watch and coming to the future, has screwed up his entire family. His sister is now unmarriageable, his parents are broke, his sister dies a young spinster. You know, his parents are in poverty looking for him because for whatever reason, Grandpa didn't say, yo, he's not missing, he just ran off, or some good excuse, you know. And I guess even if he said, hey, I gave him a magic watch, he's in the future or past or somewhere, the parents probably wouldn't have believed it. So now Elias has a problem. And again, this is where the plot I wasn't nuts about. So now he's got to go back and fix things if he loves his family, or stay with Tyler. And at first he's all like, screw him, I don't care. Maybe not the best attitude to have, but you know, he's kind of resentful of his parents. I think he realizes though that his parents love him, and he is pretty torn, but he doesn't want to leave. You know, he's in this modern world and he finally can have a relationship with a guy, and I think he's really torn. So then this thing happened that I really hated. It was the thing I hated most in the whole book because I didn't think it was well done. And that is, Tyler had filmed Elias poofing in the library. And his best friend, I think his name is Oscar, is like, hey, I gotta borrow the laptop and do a thing for Tyler's birthday. Now, Oscar has already told Tyler that, he thinks that Tyler needs to tell people that Elias is a time traveler, and Oscar knows the secret. So, suddenly, the video of Elias appearing, poofing in the library, goes viral. And now reporters are on the school steps, and everybody's like, are you a time traveler? And I'm just going to say, like, in our modern world with the CGI and stuff we have, I feel like nobody is really going to believe that. They're just going to automatically assume it's special effects and CGI. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh, that must be real. Because, like, Tyler is then, like, telling people, oh, no, it was a CGI job. It was just CGI. It's fake. It was CGI. I feel like as a modern person, I always assume things are CGI. I sometimes assume things that are being told to me as real are probably CGI and edited. I feel like nobody in this viral video, not too many people, and especially not reporters, are going to be like, oh my gosh, this video that was somehow released on TV, or on YouTube basically, I don't know exactly what service, this guy must really be a time traveler. On top of all this, we learn that Oscar didn't do it. Okay, and that was, I think, the biggest thing that didn't work for me. Like, I could probably give you a pass on the people saw it and believed it. It's not real believable, but I'll let it go. Oscar's like, no, man, I didn't do it. I was just using the computer, and it was an unsecured network. So somebody must have hacked me. I cannot even tell you how much that does not work for me. So, random stranger hacks a filmmaker's computer, because obviously he's got a ton of films and stuff on his computer. And suddenly he's like, oh my gosh, this video from this obvious filmmaker kid must be real, showing time travel person poofing in the library. I didn't buy it. So then there's you're not safe here because they think you're a time traveler, or they know you're a time traveler, and they're going to take you and perform science stuff on you. So you should go back to your own time. So Elias takes his little watch and poofs back into his own time. Now, he has his time travel watch. Okay? This means that basically what happens, it's more drawn out and convoluted than this, but the basics is he pops back into his old time and he's like, yo mom, yo dad, I'm gonna go stay in America for a while because of things, and I love you. I'll come back and visit when I can, but can't stay here. Going to America. They're presumably like, okay, well, we're gonna miss you. We love you, but at least we're not gonna waste our fortune looking for you because we know where you are. And your sister is going to be able to marry and not die a spinster because apparently that's the worst thing in the world. So bye-bye, Elias. Have a good time. Then Elias has to like mess with his watch because apparently it's easy to overshoot or get in the wrong area. But he ultimately goes back to Tyler and is all like, Tyler, hey, I'm staying with you now. Now, there's a couple problems here. Number one, now Tyler has kind of handled the issue with people thinking it's real. No, it's just really good special effects. He hasn't figured out, though, like how to explain that to the film schools that are suddenly offering him scholarships. He's like, I don't know what to tell them because I can't make special effects that good, but I gotta lie to them and say they are. So that hasn't really been resolved, but, that's a moot point at this point. Tyler also had been told that he can't let Elias stay in his room, which is what's been happening. We never have figured out how they're going to solve that problem because, Tyler's in boarding school. It's not like he can go get an apartment. I assume he doesn't have a job, don't think. Maybe I missed it if he did, but regardless, his stepmom is paying for him to be in this boarding school. He can't call her and be like, hey, lady who I don't even like that much, my boyfriend would like to stay in my room with me. Do you mind paying his tuition too? So they never do figure out like the living situation part of that. So I'm not sure how that was supposed to work. And that was like a big plot hole to me, like, okay, he's been kicked out, he can't stay with you, but what are you doing? What are you going to do? He doesn't have a driver's license, he doesn't have a birth certificate. You're kind of out of luck right now. You don't have a lot of options. And then on top of it, he's all like, oh, and with my fancy watch, we'll just pop in every now and then to see my parents, and it's gonna be great. We'll live here and there, and then they go back to the museum, and the wine stain's not there anymore, so obviously, he corrected the past. He didn't spill wine on his friend's thing because he shot himself back just in time to not spill wine on his friend's thing. So here's, I guess, the issue I have. I feel like they were acting really dumb considering they have a time travel device. Like, if you have a time travel, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like people complain about the Harry Potter series, like, yeah, Hermione has a time turner. Can't you just go back and, I don't know, save Harry's parents? Kill Voldemort as a baby, prevent Voldemort's mother from love potioning his dad. I mean, something. There has to be a way to prevent all of the awful. You can travel through time. That means that things that are possible, it changes the rules, and you have to act like the rules are changed for the plot to work. And I felt like Elias didn't do that. He's all like, I have to be here or there. You have a time travel device. And at the end of the book, the answer is, we have a time travel device. So I don't really understand why the whole issue with the plot was, I don't know what to do, if I should stay here or if I should go back. You have a time travel device. That is the answer. You have a time travel device. That's it. And again, if that hadn't been the ultimate answer at the end of the book, I would have had a lot less issues with it. But the answer is, I have a time travel device. So anyway, I was really, really kind of irritated with that plot. And that is the thing I didn't like. Because I kind of, with a couple things with the setup, I thought he was probably going to take Tyler back with him. That's kind of what I expected to happen. And in a way, I think I would have been happier with that ending. Like, on one hand, Tyler would have lost his best friends, and Tyler wouldn't have been able to go to film school, so I guess that would have sucked for him. And, I don't know what they do with where he'd live or anything else back there, but I feel like he had more options, because 17, you're pretty much a man in, London in 1800, whereas, stepmom still tells you what to do in the modern day. But I kind of thought that's what we were being set up for, because obviously he's in boarding school because his stepmom's paying for it, doesn't want to deal with him. I don't know if his mom was ever mentioned, but she's obviously not in the picture. Otherwise, we'd have some kind of interaction with her. His dad is dead. So all that being said, I kind of assumed that with that setup, we were going to have Tyler go back to the past. And I would have been more fine with that than, we have a time travel device. We'll just keep darting back and forth. I'll tell my parents I'm living in America. We'll go visit them on occasion, and you're my best buddy who I'm living with in America. And then we'll pop back to modern times because we have a time travel device. So, again, overall, I really enjoyed this book. The plot just pissed me off. I could not believe the plot. I could not believe the way things ended or were fixed or were done. It just, but I love the journey. I had a good time on the journey. I just wasn't thrilled with the destination. Yeah. The ride was fun. I had a good time on the ride. I had a 4.5 star time on the ride. Plot-wise was probably a 3. The book had some problems, but I had a good time. So, anyway, this is Jane. I'm going to stop rambling now. I would say the book is worth reading if you think that sounds okay and you're okay with some plot issues. I would recommend it. I had a good time. I really liked it. My social media is down below. If you'd like more content, please subscribe. And I'd appreciate a like. Thank you. This is Jane. Bye.